Mark, as an analyst covering the Habs for RDS, you got to see a lot from Lane Hutson on his way to earning the Calder last season. Ivan Demidov is now the runaway favorite to win it this year. In the long run, which of the Habs' young studs is poised to become a bigger superstar in the NHL?
Such a tough question at this point. Obviously, they haven't reached maturity yet. Definitely not for Ivan Demidov. And although I do believe that both will be superstars at the NHL level, I think so highly of Lane Hutson and how much of an outlier he is at the position. At 21 years old, he's already played big minutes, meaningful minutes in meaningful games down the stretch to bring his team to the playoffs. He does it in a much different way than the much bigger and stronger defensemen or forwards that are trying to protect the puck against him. He's smart. He sees the play well ahead of the opposition. He's able to counterattack. His first pass is amazing, but his creativity takes him to the next level. For Ivan Demidov, in a year from now, and just imagine that or picture that, to be in the same conversation like Lane Hutson is right now with the Kale McCarrs that are probably far ahead, but more points than Victor Hedman or Adam Fox. Ivan Demidov would need to be in the same conversation as players like Nathan McKinnon or Kaprizov or Connor McDavid. Almost an unattainable feat. So to me, Lane Hutson will eventually be the bigger star because he's such an outlier.
And Mark, Hudson has some extra motivation right now. He wasn't just snubbed by U.S. Olympic team. He didn't even get an invite to the camp. Is that something, you know this guy's character, is he going to use this as extra motivation?
I do believe he will. And although a final decision on the U.S. Olympic roster hasn't been made yet and doesn't need to be made until the end of the year, the Montreal Canadiens won't be disappointed if he isn't there. Not only will it be used by him as extra motivation, but last year he used the Four Nations break to be even better down the stretch for the Montreal Canadiens. So it's a win-win situation for the Montreal Canadiens, and hopefully for Lane Hutson, he gets that recognition.
All right, so we're talking about young guys in the Habs. We're talking about the big upside potential. The Habs surprised many teams last year by making the playoffs. Now, with a full year of Demidov in the lineup, can Montreal take another big step this year?
It's just an added threat offensively. I don't believe Demidov will be getting first line minutes, but he'll be getting some first power play minutes. He's very creative as well. His deception is second to none for a player that's only played a handful of games, regular season and playoffs. He's found out in the playoffs against the Capitals that it's not all about putting up points on the board. That will be very interesting to see how he navigates through 82 games of a hard and demanding season at the NHL and North American level. But what I like about the young kid, he's not phased. He's not overwhelmed by the situation in Montreal, a very demanding market as well. It's an extra added layer of secondary scoring, which wasn't there in the past for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, if they can only find a second center.
All right, let's go to the net, the position that's near and dear to your heart. The Habs seem to be pinning their long-term hopes on Samuel Montembeault. Is he capable of being the premier goalie Montreal needs as they rebuild, as this rebuild accelerates?
Yeah, I think now that the rebuild is kind of behind, there'll still be some injection of youth. We talked about Demidov. Lane Hutson is still a young player. A lot of young players in that roster, but Montembeault has been the backbone of this team. He's not at the superstar elite level, but for him to be part of the three goalies of the Four Nations for Team Canada, to be there at the Team Canada orientation camp over the summer, I do believe that he's gaining experience and stability, which is really important. Above and beyond in 2025, it's not just about being an all-star goalie. It's about being stable night in and night out. It's about consistency. And Montembeault has brought that. What I like about what the Montreal Canadiens and Kent Hughes have done over the offseason is they've added to the depth. And that's really important, as we saw in the playoffs. So it's not all on Jacob Fowler now or Jakub Dobeš. They've added Capo Kapanen, who's going to be competing for the backup spot out of training camp.
Uh, Speaking of adding depth, how about the blue line? Montembeault will get some help in front of him. The Habs' biggest offseason move was adding defenseman Noah Dobson, so that is going to help as well.